this is very important in the fact that a serious striving toward theology, correct theology, can lead to pride, and it can lead to a kind of a separatist attitude toward people that causes you to be cold, judgmental, and critical. To the same degree, a passion for devotion and a recognition of devotion can make you think, I'm devotional, and make you critical and cold towards those who are not. In the same degree, what I was talking about this morning, ethics of really trying and seeking to live the Christ-like life, can lead you to a separatist type of lifestyle in which you are cold and critical. Because in all three of these errors, the main teaching of Christ is lost. That of love, that binds everything together. If I can put it this way, if your sovereign grace views or high reform views do not lead you to passionately love those who disagree with you and your views, you've got, you're a walking contradiction. If your devotional life doesn't lead you to love and serve those who are superficial, you're a walking contradiction. And if your ethic does not cause you to love and be passionately concerned for the antinomian, then you're a walking contradiction. That is so important to understand. And I think the whole thing comes down to what? Centering upon Christ. Centering upon Christ. But just look at all the pitfalls we're running into. Then there are those who say, well, we're just going to center upon Christ, and they use centering upon Christ to say that nothing's been taught in Scripture except something about the person of Christ and the saving work of Christ, and so they center on Christ and live for the glory of God, yet they live their life totally outside the sphere of all the dictates of Scripture. There are pitfalls on every side. That's why Conrad Merle, in a sermon he preaches about the truth, he says, it's like walking on the edge of a razor blade to walk in the truth, because you can fall off on this side and you can fall off on the other side. Extremely important. Extremely important. We've seen three things, haven't we? Correct theology, correct ethic, correct worship that we ought to strive for, at the same time recognizing the pitfalls of, in striving for those things, we can become proud about striving for those things. During the Reformation, you saw the difference in their emphasis. One group emphasized, their whole emphasis was theology, what they believed, their creeds, their confessions, many of them very, very good, and yet everything came to be just their theology. Another group reacting against that, their emphasis was not so much theology as it was Christ-likeness, which eventually turned into legalism. And so what we have to have are both things. Both things. Also, we ought to be convinced in certain things by our conscience and know that we are going to differ with other believers. Paul speaks about this in Romans 14. He speaks about it quite clearly.